In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to design a Squarespace website that doesn't look Squarespacey, if you know what I mean. So I like to start off on Pinterest. And what we're going to do here is create like a mood board type of thing for your website. And so if you have Pinterest, go to your home and then saved and then click this little plus icon and you're going to make a new board and you can hide it if you want. We'll just type a test website. And we're going to keep it secret. And then we're going to do this. And then what I want you to do is start searching websites that you like and pinning them. It'll automatically come up with a few here, but look at if there's sections of the website they like. So maybe I really, really like the overlap of this section, right? So it doesn't need to be the whole website, but we'll save it. Click done. Maybe we'll start searching more websites. So come up to the search bar. And this is searching your pins. We're going to go all pins. So we're going to just say website. Maybe I really like kind of light and airy websites. Try some of that terminology. Try to stay away from your exact industry. Okay, it's only searching my pins. So let's get out of here. Make sure we're on Pinterest general. So we'll just go ahead and search it. And maybe I really like kind of those archy type of things. So we'll save that to my board. So if you click this little down arrow, we're going to do the test website, save it. And just go through and start saving websites that you like. Let's allocate 5 minutes to this, okay? Like we're not going to go crazy. You can always update your website, so we're just moving forward. So I'm going to quickly go do that and then I'll come back and show you my board. All right, so now go to your board, which if you click on your little profile, you should see it under saved. And what we're going to do is you're going to screenshot sections you like of some of these websites. So this is for someone who's like, I have no idea kind of the direction I want to go. This is a really great strategy. So let's click on this website. I kind of liked these arching type of things, situations we got here. So I'm just going to screenshot, which on my Mac, it's Command-Shift-4. Just screenshot that section where it features the services. And as you're doing this, kind of think about what header do you really like. So let's say I really like the like type of header that has a box in the middle. So like this one. Oops, that was not what I wanted to do. So this type of thing we got going on. I might screenshot that section. Maybe there's a menu you want to screenshot. And then what you're going to do once you have all your screenshots of different sections that you like, you're going to go into Canva. And just create like 1500 by 700. We're trying to get something that like is a website page, so really long. So create new design. And you're going to, all the way around, sorry. We want actually, we're going to do like, okay, so we'll do 700 by 2000. Okay, create new design. And then we're going to pull those screenshots into this Canva template. So this will just kind of give us a little bit of a guide. So we'll upload those files by clicking here. And pull in those screenshots. And remember to just like have it lay out, like think about like the one that's a header. So this one's going to be at the top, right? Because it's the header. It has that big call to action in that square or rectangle. So I'm going to put that one at the top. I'm going to leave a little bit of space that kind of pretends like it's my menu up there. And then if services is like really what you want to talk about right away, maybe the services is next. And ignore like colors and stuff because that's obviously all going to change. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that and then I'm going to come back to you guys. Okay, so my website went a little bit longer than the thing, so I just added a new page. If you have Canva Pro, you can resize it and just make it longer than 2000, but I didn't, so that's a way to work around it. So again, we're just using this as kind of a basic idea, a little bit of a guide. So the next step is to just get on Squarespace. So just type in Squarespace. I'll leave a link below so that if you click on it, you can get 10% off your Squarespace subscription. But you're going to go to Squarespace and create an account. And the way it'll work is it will try to kind of get you to choose a template based on like the design field or the field that you're in. Just skip through that and just get to where you can see like all of the templates. And then we're going to go from there. So this is what I'm talking about. And the reason being, like, if you click fitness and that's what you're in, a lot of other fitness people are going to click fitness. And we're trying to make this unique. So you could just skip this, or I'm just browsing or whatever. But again, we're just going to skip all that. And we are going to choose a professionally designed website just to kind of see if there's anything that kind of looks like it fits with what you just designed in Canva. So scroll through. If it doesn't, that's fine. Like all of these templates, you can emulate. Like if you pick Quinn, this one, you could design Kusa. Like it doesn't really matter what you choose. But for the sake of making your life a little bit easier, just try to pick one that looks like it kind of fits, right? So we'll just choose this one right now. Click on it, and this is where you can start with your color palette if you have one. You can always change this later. So I'm doing some light and airy. We're gonna click on this and then start with this design. Now we're designing a new homepage. It's going to pop up some already created pages, but we're obviously customizing this to be our own website. So we will create a new page. I'm just going to close out of this, and then we'll go to pages. Real quick overview of what is over here. This is if you want to sell something, marketing, email marketing, that type of thing, or if you want like a banner, that's where you can do all that. Contacts, analytics is where you view your analytics. So again, we're just skipping this. You're going to hang out in pages the most. Asset library, if you want to upload a bunch of photos at once, that's a great place to do it. And then settings, again, in the beginning, this is where you would connect your domain or get a domain through Squarespace. You get a free domain for the first year. You can view your bills, things like that. So that's just basic overview, but let's go to pages. And we are going to, you could just start editing this one if it looked kind of like your template. But I'm going to just start with a brand new page. So if you click the plus, blank page, home, and it's just going to start off as an empty page. So now let's go back to our Canva design and see how we can emulate this. So right now it's a background photo. Every single Squarespace section is going to either have a photo as a background, a video, or a color. So this is obviously a photo. And if you don't have brand photos, you're in luck. Squarespace has free photos that you can use. So let's go back to that website, go to edit, and then add section, add a blank section, and go to edit section, go to background, and this is where you're going to add that image. So we're going to browse some stock images, and we will do get a photo that we like. I don't know, I don't really like any of these, but that's okay. We're just going to pick this one for right now. And then the screenshot that I took had like, it's calling out the main text with a little background. So if you look, we had this white rectangle. So all you have to do is add a block, and you're going to add a shape. Slide that shape where you want it. Boom. There we go. Now it has some text and then a shape at the bottom that's more like a button call to action. So you could add another shape and change the color. So if you click on the shape and you duplicate it, you can go like that and put it under it. Change the color of it by clicking that little pencil, coming over to color, changing it. So this is one way to maybe make like a button. Easier way to make a button is add block and just type in button. And then you would just drag that, and then if you wanted it to be longer, you go like this. We'll add some text on top of that shape. So add some text. And it's really good above the fold. So when people first land on your website, they know right off the bat who you are, what you do, who you serve, and location if that is relevant. So if you are a, let's say a photographer, you are going to say photographing weddings in Minnesota. You can center it by clicking right here and centering it. Drag the text box to make the text box the size you want. And then, of course, put it right there. Then add another block, add another piece of text. And maybe after that, so now we have who you are, photographer. I serve couples with big hearts. I don't know. Hopefully you've worked through your copy a little bit. If not, just put some placeholder stuff in there. So that's going to be more of the big font. We're going to center that again. And size it up. Okay. So if you look there's, it looks like I'm kind of looking at what the fonts people are using, but generally speaking, if you're like, I have no idea what kind of fonts, go to Squarespace. They have font packs. If you go to this little site styles, you will see font packs that pop up. I say if you have no idea, just choose a sans serif and a serif, so mixed. Serif fonts are these that have like little tails on the end of the letters, and it's usually high end, whereas sans serif is usually more modern. So I like to go mixed, and this is a mixed one. I don't really like, I want it to look a little bit more high end. So we're going to choose this one. This photo in the background is terrible. And then change up the font size a little bit. So if you go back to, we're still in fonts, you can kind of change the base size, or if you're like, I really just want to change just the heading, you could go in here and change each of these headings to be different sizes. One thing I kind of like to do prior to designing at all is create just a generic page that has every single heading and every single paragraph. So I'll kind of show you what I mean there, and that just gives you a good idea. It's kind of like your brand board. So let's exit out of here, and we're going to create a new page, blank page, call it brand board. And all you have to do for this is just edit it, add a section, add a block, text, heading 1, switch it to heading 1. This is going to be the easiest page you create. Then duplicate that, and this is going to be your heading 2. Duplicate that. We're going to make a heading 3. And then a heading 4. So same type of thing. And then we're going to go in and do paragraph. So duplicate that. Paragraph 3. Highlight that. Change that to paragraph 3. So there, you could add in your other heading if you want. And then button. And change that text to just say primary button. Add another block. Add another button. We're going to make this the secondary button. So now, if you save all that, and you go back to that site styles, as you're editing the fonts, if you go to headings, you can see right off the bat how big your headings are. So you can adjust them and so on. So that would be my suggestion right off the bat. And then if you go to buttons right here, we can switch up the primary and secondary buttons. So maybe for the secondary button, I want it to be a line, let's say. So you would go, so it's an underline, and then just put up that outline a little bit. So yeah, you can mess around with it. Make sure to change the font to be consistent with whatever font you are using throughout your website. But yeah, that is how you edit those things. So that is something I would just do off the bat. If you want to change the colors, this is where you can edit the palette. Again, they have a ton of palettes you can choose from, or you can individually change each and every color. So now let's exit out of that and go back to our home page, see how it's going. Edit it. If you want to see what it looks like on mobile, this is, and I usually like to design desktop and then go to mobile, but some people like to do them kind of simultaneously. It'll look real funky, as you can see. So you would just drag things to be where you want them. And then to make this section not so big, you drag this blue thing up. Now let's go back to desktop, and same thing. If you wanted to make a section bigger, you go like this. Section smaller, you go like that. You can also go edit section, and you can change the height. I personally don't like this buffer room. I like to decide how tall I want sections to be. So I usually do small, or I go to these three dots and just drag it all the way down if I wanted to like items to touch the ends. And then you can always just drag this little blue thing. So that's my preference. I have to change this background photo, guys. It's driving me crazy. So we're going to replace it with a wedding photo. All right, much better, right? Now let's say you want to have a more movement on the background. You want kind of like a gallery of photos. A couple different ways to do this. I'm actually going to drag all this down a little bit. So I highlight all of it and just drag it down. Drag this section down. All right, add a block. You can add a gallery. Double click the gallery and add some images here. Just going to add these two since they're in there. And then what you're going to do is go to design. Make it a carousel, actually a slideshow, and automatically transition between slides. So I'm just going to go 2 seconds each. I do not want to show thumbnails. I don't want to crop the images. And then what you'll do, if I want it to be a background, I want this to go behind my text, click the thing and put it behind by clicking that. And then you can drag this to be the size that you want. So we're going to have it go all the way over, all the way down. Sometimes this happens. It just goes kind of quick, right? So let's drag this little piece of text and this. All right. Now we're talking. Drag the button. Okay. So now let's double click this gallery again, and we want the photo to take up the whole, don't want the title and description. There we go. So we wanted the photo to take up the whole background. So that should be good to go. We'll just move this up a little bit. Got the image to be the gallery to be way too big. Another thing, maybe you like your background image, but you want the gallery to just kind of be on the side. This would be great if you're like a photographer and you really want to showcase your photos. So you would just resize your gallery, and then if you want all of your things to be cropped the same size, just make sure you go to design and click that automatically crop. So you could drag that to be kind of featured. And again, let's drag this down a little bit. So there's a lot of different options here with the homepage, but I'm going to go back to just having this in the center. Have that be my big call to action. And the background's feeling a little too bold, so let's go edit section, background. And we're going to change that overlay opacity to just be a little bit more subdued. Okay, so that's the first section. So that gave you a really good overview of how to design in it. Let's go back here. Okay, so next we have the services with 3 images and then 3 blocks under it. And the images have arches. So let's go add section. And you might even be able to find kind of a section that resembles what you're going for. So you could always scroll down. That's intro. Let's go to services maybe and see if there's like 3 in a row just to save us some time. Well, I kind of like just do things on my own. So that's an option. We're going to add a blank section, and we're just going to add an image. And the browse stock images. Let's say we got a bouquet. We're going to do chapel. And then to make that image have that nice arch, or if you wanted to make it circle or whatever, you can click this little edit pencil icon. Go to design. I like to click fill, and it will fill it to the size that you want. And then this is just personal preference. And then I would go and I would change this to be the size I want. Just my personal preference. But double click or click this pencil icon again, go to design. You can go to shape and see different shapes. So you could come here, and that's the one I wanted. There we go. And then add block, we're going to add a button, or you could do a shape that's right below this. Let's go back to our, so they have some text instead. So instead of having the shape, you could just have, just like I showed you above, adding a block, adding a shape, and then you would just add text on top of it. And then once you have it all looking how you want, if you have 3 in a row, you just copy that item that you made. Also, anytime you're editing, you can always change the color by going to that. Center it. Let's change it to black. And then highlight that, and you just click the duplicate. Put it in the center. And if ever you're like, you did something not how you wanted, you can always just click this undo button. Duplicate, put that there. All right, now we have that section done. Of course, you're going to replace the photo by double clicking and replacing the photo with your own photo. So that section is done. Also, if you're ever like, wow, this section is chef's kiss, click this little heart. And then as you're designing on other pages, which I know this isn't centered, it's probably going to bug me at some point, but when you click add section, you go to save sections, and boom, there's that section. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next, we have just a nice checklist. This is great for kind of like if it's on your about page and you have lots of facts about you, or your services page and there's a lot of facts about that, a checklist might be a good option. Very easy here. We're just going to add a section, add a blank section, add a block. This is going to be the bolded headline at the top. We're going to center it. Maybe I want to make this section look separate from this. So if you go to edit section, background, colors, change the color. Again, I want it to be a little bit more. There we go. And then we're going to add a block, add a text box, and we're going to copy and paste some check marks. So I will usually just go and say copy, paste, arrow or check mark, whatever you want, whatever symbol you're trying to get. And let's say we want to do arrows. We'll click here, find an arrow that you like or a symbol. So maybe you like this one a lot. Copy that. And then we're just writing fact 1, fact 2, just typing out, right? And then we will put that right there. And then we're going to copy this again and drag it over. So now we have emulated the next section. Boom. All right. We're getting close. This has some overlapping images, super easy, as well as an image and some text and text. Again, we're just adding a new section. I'm going to make that into a square, double click it, design, shape. I'm just going to fill it. You can always round out corners as well. So if it doesn't have the shape that you want, you could make it really extreme. Kind of create it by doing it like that. So there we go. Move this down a little bit, and then we'll add some text on top. All right, so that is that part. And then there was some overlapping images. Again, super easy to do. We're just going to copy this image. We'll copy it again. So all you have to do to overlap images is just drag it where you want it. So we'll kind of drag this one down. So there's a lot you can do. You can really make this fun and unique to you. And let's make this one a little bit smaller. Obviously I need new pictures, but for the sake of time, we're just repeating some images. All right, we're making some progress. So the next section is just a simple lines between text. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to copy this section by clicking that little duplicate right there. And then I'm going to drag it down by just moving it down like that. So the way that you add lines is, again, very simple. Add block, line, boom. So we had some text and we had lines. You can drag your line to be the size you want. Again, duplicate it by just clicking duplicate. And if you're starting out and you don't know what text to put in just yet, just use a little lorem ipsum. So we'll copy that for right now. There we go. Great. If you want to move it all down, highlight it, move it all down. Highlight these, duplicate them, put them above. There's ways to make your website look beautiful and high end, even if you don't have photos. Ideally, yes, you're going to have some really great photos, but I know when you're starting out, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to pay for a branding shoot. So if you don't have a ton of photos, use the free photos that are in Squarespace, and then just try to figure out ways that you can make sections stand out and be unique. So we have that section done. And then big call to action at the bottom is always a great choice. I am going to just, again, copy this because it's a background type section and move it down. And I love having a big call to action button. So they're on your homepage. Where do you want them to go next? Do you want them to contact you? Do you want them to, learn more about you? What is it? So that's where you're really trying to just guide them. So we're going to delete this shape and just delete some of this text and say, let's chat. Add some swirlies. There we go. And a button. Boom. Great call to action. Now, if you have a freebie, definitely put that on your homepage. So I wanted to show you a quick way on doing that. And you could either end with your call to action, let's chat, or your freebie, or you can have your freebie somewhere else. So as you see here, this is an example of it. And I like this like logo overlapping. Do you guys like that? Let's do that. So we're going to add a section, and then we're going to be done with the homepage. Add a blank section. I kind of want this one to stand out because it's a free offer, so I'm going to make it pink. And then the way we can make kind of an overlapping look is go to the section above, add a block, add a shape, match that shape with the color below. So we're going to drag it over. And if your shape has like space in between it, you need to make your section, so go edit section, you need to make sure that it's all the way down to 1 or 0. Once you have that, it should not have a gap. So edit that shape, and let's make the color matching so it looks like this is part of that page. And then it's going to be a lot easier to add a logo or whatever overlaps the two sections. So I'll grab my logo. All right, grab my logo. Make this shape a little bit smaller. There you go. All right, and then in this one, we can add a newsletter block. Squarespace has like a newsletter program. So if you're not using MailChimp or whatever, you can use Squarespace. And actually, if you go to storage, other storage options, you can connect your MailChimp. If you're using Flowdesk, I love Flowdesk. I'll give you a 50% off coupon for the first year below, but that you kind of have to code in, but there's an easy, I'll link a tutorial of how to do it. It's really, really easy. So you would just design this however you want. I don't really need to I would say subscribe or get the newsletter, and then just enter it. So now we have that. And there we go. That is the homepage. Next, we would work on the footer and the header. And so just know that anything you change here in the footer is going to be reflected on every single page. If you don't have a newsletter, just take that out. You could even, slide this over, and then you're just linking your pages. So if we click on this, if you double click on contact, you click edit, and you would have it go to the URL or the page. Let's say you have a services page. You would just say services, highlight services, go to the link, / and you start typing in services. If the page is created, it will pop up. If it's not, link those later. And then I would definitely say at the bottom, make sure to add your copyright information. So when was your website created? If you have a terms and conditions, definitely have that, and you should. I'll link below the legal page. You can get terms and conditions from her. And there you go. You got your home. And then if you want to edit your site header, the top of it, you can just click on it. You can edit your site logo here if you want to add your logo. And if you don't have a logo, just put your name in. If you want to make your logo bigger, this is where you would do that. And then up here, the navigation, if you double click, you can show more pages and add them, or you could do it like I showed you in the beginning on the left-hand side. Social links, double click, add your social links. And there you go. That's how you design a Squarespace homepage. Again, don't forget to edit everything on mobile. It's going to look real funky in the beginning. So just make sure you're editing it as you go or at the end. You'll just want to make sure that it's all mobile friendly. Let me know below if you have any other questions, and I would be happy to answer them. And lastly, if you are looking to design a website in a week for your business without overwhelm, I have a free training below that goes through the process of branding, a little bit of strategy there, how to DIY the Squarespace website, and then finally how to implement SEO. I will link it below, and I'm wishing you all the best on your website journey.